Stop. Before you take another calcium supplement, watch this. Because what most seniors over 60 are doing right now is actually making their legs weaker today, not.
And the scary part, their doctors haven't told them. There are 2 vitamins quietly disappearing from your body right now that are the real reason your legs feel heavy, your balance is off,
And your strength seems to vanish every single year. I'm going to reveal exactly what they are. But first here, if you're new here, hit that subscribe button right now, because what you're about to hear could genuinely change the way you walk, stand, and live.
Stay with me until the end. The second vitamin especially shocked researchers. Here's a number that should stop you cold.
According to research published in the Journal of the American Geriatric Society, over 30% of adults over the age of 60 experience measurable muscle weakness in their lower body, their legs, their thighs, their calves. And here's what's worse, most of them don't even realize it's happening until they fall, until they grab a railing and their hand shakes, until they try to get up from a chair and they simply can't do it the way they used to. That's not just uncomfortable, that's dangerous. Falls are the #1 cause of injury-related death in adults over 65 in the United States. Not heart attacks, not strokes, falls. And weak legs are the single biggest reason those falls happen. But here's what nobody is talking about. People keep blaming age, doctors keep handing out calcium, families keep telling their seniors to just take it easy. But the science tells a completely different story. Leg weakness in seniors is not simply about aging. It is about a deep, silent deficiency happening at the cellular level, a deficiency of 2 specific vitamins that your body needs desperately to maintain muscle fiber, nerve signaling, and bone-muscle coordination. And until those 2 vitamins are restored, no amount of calcium, no amount of walking, no amount of physical therapy is going to bring your full strength back. I've spent years reviewing clinical research and working closely with data from thousands of seniors across multiple health studies. What I found changed everything I thought I knew about senior muscle health. And today, I'm handing that information directly to you. I'm not here to sell you fear. I'm here to give you facts, the kind of facts that most health channels won't touch because they're too busy repeating outdated advice. After reviewing hundreds of peer-reviewed studies and analyzing real-world outcomes in senior health research, I can tell you this with complete confidence. The 2 vitamins I'm about to reveal have more clinical evidence behind them for leg strength, muscle recovery, and fall prevention than calcium ever will. Calcium is important, don't misunderstand me, but it works in your bones. These 2 vitamins work in your muscles, your nerves, and your mitochondria. That's where your strength actually lives. Most seniors don't know that, and that gap in knowledge is costing them their independence. Science made simple. Let me explain something quickly so this all makes sense. Your legs are powered by muscle fibers. Those fibers need 2 things to stay strong. They need to receive nerve signals clearly, and they need energy to contract. Think of it like a light bulb. The wire is your nerve, the electricity is your energy. If either one is weak or broken, the bulb goes dim, no matter how good the bulb itself is. As you get older, 2 things start failing silently. First, the nerve signals to your leg muscles become slower and weaker, especially when you're deficient in a specific vitamin that protects the myelin sheath, which is the coating around your nerves. When that coating breaks down, signals get lost, muscles don't fire properly, legs feel like lead. Second, the mitochondria inside your muscle cells, the tiny engines that make energy, start producing less and less power. Without enough of the right vitamin to fuel those engines, your muscles literally run out of steam faster than they should. These 2 processes are exactly what vitamin D3 and vitamin B12 are designed to fix, and I'll show you how right now. Vitamin #1, vitamin D3. Now, you've probably heard of vitamin D, but most people think of it as the bone vitamin. That's only half the story, and the less important half for your legs. Here's what the research actually shows. A landmark study published in the journal Osteoporosis International followed over 4,000 older adults and found that those with low vitamin D levels had significantly greater muscle weakness, slower walking speed, and a dramatically higher risk of falling compared to those with sufficient levels. We're talking about a 2 to 4 times higher fall risk. That is enormous. But why? What is vitamin D actually doing in your muscles? Inside each muscle cell, there are special receptors called vitamin D receptors that act like locks. Vitamin D is the key. When vitamin D binds to those receptors, it activates genes responsible for muscle protein synthesis. In plain terms, it tells your muscles to grow, repair, and stay strong. Without enough D3, those receptors sit empty, those genes go silent, and your muscles begin to slowly shrink, a process scientists call sarcopenia. Sarcopenia is the medical term for age-related muscle loss. It affects over 50% of adults over the age of 80, and vitamin D3 deficiency is one of its most well-established accelerants. Now here's the ancient insight that makes this even more fascinating. In Ayurvedic medicine, the 5,000-year-old healing system from India, regular sun exposure was considered a sacred daily ritual for elders, not for warmth, for vitality. Ancient healers understood, without any laboratory equipment, that sunlight replenished something essential in aging bodies. They were right. They were describing vitamin D3 production centuries before science could name it. How to use it practically? The research consensus suggests that seniors need between 2,000 and 4,000 IUs of vitamin D3 daily, significantly more than younger adults, because absorption decreases with age. The most effective form is D3, not D2. And here's the critical detail most people miss. Always take vitamin D3 with vitamin K2. K2 acts like a traffic director. It tells the calcium that D3 helps absorb to go into your bones and muscles, not your arteries. Without K2, high doses of D3 can actually lead to arterial calcification, so D3 and K2 together, always. Get your vitamin D levels tested. Ask for a 25-hydroxy vitamin D blood test. If your level is below 30 ng per m, you are deficient. Most seniors are, and most of them have no idea. Vitamin number 2, vitamin B12. If vitamin D3 is the builder of muscle strength, then vitamin B12 is the electrician. It keeps the wiring working.
Here's the thing about B12 that should alarm every person over 60 watching this right now. After the age of 50, your stomach naturally produces less of something called intrinsic factor, a protein your gut needs to absorb B12 from food. That means even if you're eating B12-rich foods every single day, your body may only be absorbing a fraction of what it needs. Researchers at the Framingham Heart Study found that nearly 40% of adults between the ages of 26 and 83 had low to borderline low B12 levels. Among seniors specifically, the numbers are even more alarming. And what does low B12 do to your legs? It destroys the myelin sheath, that protective coating around your nerves that I mentioned earlier. When the myelin breaks down, nerve signals to your leg muscles become weak, delayed, or completely misdirected. The result is a condition called peripheral neuropathy, tingling in the feet, numbness, that burning sensation some seniors feel at night, loss of coordination, and that terrifying feeling when your leg just doesn't respond the way your brain tells it to. A study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition showed that B12 supplementation in deficient older adults led to measurable improvements in nerve conduction velocity, meaning the signals from the brain to the legs traveled faster and stronger. Participants reported less leg fatigue, better balance, and improved walking confidence in as little as 12 weeks. The ancient tradition angle here is remarkable too. In traditional Japanese medicine, fermented foods like natto, made from soybeans, have been consumed by elders for centuries specifically for energy, nerve health, and longevity. Natto is one of the richest natural sources of both vitamin K2 and B12. Japanese seniors in rural areas consistently outperform Western seniors on balance and mobility tests. Coincidence? The research says no. Practical usage. For seniors, sublingual B12, the kind that dissolves under your tongue, is the most effective form because it bypasses the gut absorption problem entirely. Look for methylcobalamin, not cyanocobalamin. The methyl form is the active, bioavailable version your nerves can actually use. A daily dose of 1,000 to 2,500 micrograms of sublingual methylcobalamin is what the research supports for reversing deficiency in adults over 60. Results don't happen overnight. Give it 8 to 12 weeks of consistent use, but most seniors who restore their B12 to healthy levels report that their legs feel lighter, their balance improves, and that constant fatigue in their lower body begins to lift. Those are not placebo results. Those are documented outcomes. Now, here's the part most health videos skip entirely, and skipping it is exactly why so many seniors take these vitamins and still don't see results. There are foods and habits that are actively poisoning your progress, and some of them are considered healthy. First, proton pump inhibitors and antacids. If you take medications like omeprazole, pantoprazole, or over-the-counter antacids regularly, they are aggressively destroying your ability to absorb B12. Research published in the Journal of the American Medical Association confirmed that long-term PPI use significantly increases B12 deficiency risk. These medications block stomach acid, and stomach acid is essential for releasing B12 from food. This is a silent saboteur inside millions of senior medicine cabinets right now.
Second, excessive coffee and alcohol. Both are diuretics that flush fat-soluble vitamins, including D3, out of your system before they can be absorbed. 3 or more cups of coffee daily or regular alcohol consumption can effectively cancel out your D3 supplementation completely. Third, processed grain products, especially those fortified with synthetic folic acid. High levels of unmetabolized synthetic folic acid in your bloodstream can actually mask B12 deficiency on blood tests, making you think your levels are fine when they're dangerously low. This is not a fringe concern. It's documented in published research, and it is more common than anyone is telling you. Let me tell you about Margaret, 71, from Ohio. She had been taking a daily multivitamin for 6 years, eating a so-called healthy diet and walking every morning, but her legs kept getting weaker. She was gripping walls. She stopped going to her grandchildren's school events because she was afraid of the stairs. When she finally got her B12 tested, her levels were critically low, despite the multivitamin. Why? She was taking a daily antacid for heartburn. That single habit was blocking every milligram of B12 she consumed. Within 3 months of switching to sublingual methylcobalamin, she climbed those school bleachers for her granddaughter's graduation. That is what fixing the right deficiency actually looks like. And then there's Robert, 68, from Florida, a retired construction worker who couldn't understand why his legs felt like wet concrete every afternoon. Active his whole life, never overweight. His vitamin D level came back at 14 ng per ml, severely deficient. He lived in Florida, in the sun, and was still that deficient, because at his age, skin synthesis of vitamin D drops by up to 70% compared to a 20-year-old. 4 months of D3 with K2, and he's back to working in his garden for hours at a time. I want to hear from you right now. Drop a comment below and tell me, do your legs feel weaker than they did 5 years ago? Do you experience tingling or numbness in your feet? Or have you already tried either of these vitamins and noticed a difference? Your story might be exactly what another senior watching this video needs to read today. Write it down in the comments. I read every single one. Now, a lot of people ask me what to actually look for when choosing these supplements, because the supplement market is flooded with low-quality products that use the wrong forms, wrong doses, or cheap fillers that your body can barely absorb. My guidance is simple. Look for a combined D3 and K2 formula at 2000 IU or higher, paired with a separate sublingual methylcobalamin B12. Check the label for methylcobalamin specifically. If it says cyanocobalamin, put it back. I'll be putting together a breakdown of what to look for in a future video, so make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss it.